program to supposedly rescue the jobs of employees of large employers. The LEAF program, we assumed they might want to help the airline workers, 20,000 of whom have lost their jobs, the countless hotel workers who no longer have a paycheck, or God forbid, do something for the hundreds of thousands of energy workers out west who are now jobless. But none of them got help. Who got the biggest chunk of cash from that program? Consultants and insiders.
In with each of you, but I'll start with Skills Canada, and perhaps Mr. Thorson, do you have specific? You spoke of skills deficits, and could you elaborate on some of the specific industries and specific needs of our that are not being currently met in the labor market, and what skills are the most lacking in our labor that are most in need in our labor force that are not being supplied?
Yeah, I think when we're talking about skills gaps. We're talking about the correct skills that are required for the different occupations. Targeting that specifically across the country is sometimes difficult because there are regional differences that really impact those occupations. But some of those, for example, are steam fitter, pipe fitter, is one of those occupations. Electricians are areas that are in demand. Welders in particular, there are special welding level categories where there are demands for those specific areas. But I think the more important element here is we really want to make sure that students and young people and the population in general understand that there are these different career options available. And as I mentioned, I think during the pandemic, especially in the spring, when we were really relying on transportation systems to get food to grocery stores, relying on people to repair those vehicles, our communication systems, make sure that electrical grids were functioning properly so that we could all function from our homes. It was obviously very apparent to people that we definitely need people in these skilled occupations, and it is challenging across the country.
Okay, you mentioned specifically your recommendation was that the federal government fund, but then you went general and said programs aimed at underrepresented populations in various trades and the retraining of workers. Or were there specific programs that you want to elaborate on or mention in the time you have with us?
Yeah, I think what we definitely need to identify success stories, individuals that are representative of the diversity and an inclusive workforce. We want to make sure that people in the community can identify with someone.
Okay, they identifying a particular program though that you were looking for.
Not identifying a specific program. Okay. But I think our goal is when we're trying to engage these people, we want to put tools and materials in the hands of young people and in the hands of parents.
Okay, I'll move to Mr. Saul if I may. You mentioned in your statement that aid measures alone will not cure food security in the long run, and I certainly would agree with that. And I think that no one will be surprised of the tremendous demands placed on your member organizations during the pandemic. Returning as many people as safely as possible and as quickly as possible to the workforce will undoubtedly alleviate some of this demand. Moving to your one of your specific recommendations on the disability tax credit. Perhaps I'll let you comment a little further on that. In fact, I'll just turn that over to you if you want to elaborate on that first recommendation, how you see that working maybe in concert with existing funding for disabled Canadians.
Well, I'm going to let my colleague Sasha talk about the disability tax credit, but I'll first just respond very quickly about our concerns around charity. Food will not solve hunger, only income will. And that's, if you remember anything from our comments, it's that. We need to ensure people have enough money in their pockets to make the decisions they need to make. And as I mentioned in my remarks, 65% of people who are food insecure in this country have an attachment to the labor market, which speaks to just how low wage those jobs are and how precarious they are. So 4.5 million Canadians struggle with food insecurity, meaning they're just completely unsure, concerned about where their next meal is going to come from. And the only way we're going to solve that is to focus on income measures. So I'll just pass this quickly to Sasha to talk about the disability tax credit.
Thank you for your question. I think as Nick mentioned, people living on disability supports in Ontario, if you're a single person, you're making about $1,100 a month. Clearly not enough to cover the cost of living, let alone the increased costs that often come with living in disability. So making the DTC refundable would be of huge help to people who are living on provincial and territorial disability support.
Sorry, Pat.
Just short of.
Sorry, Pat. We're a little over time.
We will. Not a 6-minute round.
Yeah, it is. You've been 6 minutes and 20 seconds. How
All
time
right.
flies. So we'll.
Season's greetings by Canadians for Canadians. Today's Space Cafe. Have a good day.